All right, welcome back to another video. Thanks for coming in. Today's gonna be back on the C6 Corvette, and I'm actually gonna be working on trying to restore some of the factory Aero that I have unintentionally ruined. So for those that are not aware, C6 as well as C5, they do have a little bit of front to rear rake. So the front end is a little lower than the rear, and that helps create a little bit of a wedge, keeping a little bit more of downforce on the car. So as I've lowered the car, as I've changed things and this, that, and the other, I have unintentionally removed part of those features. So I'm going to go ahead and take the car out and get onto some level ground, not this sloping driveway and garage. And I'm actually going to measure it. So off the Corvette forum, the road racing community over there suggested that I restore the rake if I don't have any, to help reduce some of my front end lift at higher speeds. Measuring point, instead of being from the hub to the top of the fender, we're actually going to measure to the shipping slots, which are on the frame, which is where the jacking pucks will end up going. We're going to measure from the ground to those points and see what our baseline is, what it is as the car sits. I know I need to raise the front end anyways, just because I have a bit more rubbing, and we'll adjust the rear as needed. And if you're not familiar, these are what the jacking pucks look like on any of the Corvettes. Basically, just a T-slot. This will slide in. You can give it a quarter turn to help hold it in place, and then now your floor jack's able to go off of this material instead of hitting your rocker or something on the car that's not intended to have a jack on it, since we don't have pinch welds on this car. All right, so I got the car out here in this, I guess, cul-de-sac going up towards the basketball court here in my local park. It's the closest relatively flat area that I know I'm safe to do this in. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and measure what my ground to T-slot height is. So good old trusty tape measure. All right, for those that aren't aware, Corvettes have these handy dandy spots that they're made to be lifted from. I don't know if the phone's gonna have enough spot to see, but where my finger is, that is our T-slot. So it looks like 4.5. All right. So to the inboard side of the slot on the frame, I'm at 4.25 on left rear. Ouch. And the front is also, well, front's about 4.5, 4 3/8. 4 1/8. Four and a quarter. 4.25 in the rear on both sides, and then 4 3/8. 4.25 in the rear and 4 3/8 in the front. So I'm fairly level front to back. I need front end to be a little lower than the rear. So I already do need to raise the rear for that rake, and then front also needs to raise to help with some rubbing. So yeah, everything needs to be raised a fair bit. All right, so definitely the car is a little bit too low for at least the stuff that I have here. Normally my garage isn't really level, so I try to park in a spot where I think it's going to be better, and the car is sitting a little bit lower than it probably needs to be. So as I was trying to slide the quick jacks underneath, didn't work. Then had to drive up on a little ramps. And then cool, the front's underneath. Now the rear can't get underneath, which I haven't had that problem before. So now I've got a 2x4 I just roll back over top of. Now I can get the car actually in the air, get the wheels off, and spin the lowering bolts their respective ways. yeah, so let's go ahead and throw the car back onto, or the camera back on the time lapse, and let's go ahead and get after it. All right, so here on the right rear of the car, and I need to raise everything up. So I've got a indexing mark, that black part of Sharpie, and I'm gonna go quite a number of turns. All right, so we went 1 turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. I'm gonna go 1 more. That would be 10. Might be able to go to 11. Let's see. All right, that's 11. That's 11, and the thread is, that top thread is just below the top of the spring perch. All right, so just like on the other side, we're gonna go 11 spins to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna stop at 10 on this side, mainly because the thread is at the same spot in relation to the spring. So now I'm gonna go ahead and throw this wheel back on, and then now go back up to the front. There's gonna be 11 on the passenger side, 10 on this side, and it visually looks like it's in the same spot. This one might not have been backed off all the way when I started. All right, so up here on the front driver's side, and it's already fairly high up, but we're gonna go ahead and make it a bit higher still. So again, right raise. One. 2. Go probably another couple more. So that's 3. I'm gonna go 1 more, just make it a little bit easier for myself. All right. A little more. And that should be 4. All right, just like the Driver's side, we're gonna go 4 turns. Half. That'd be 2. And I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to that ratchet again, just for a little bit better security. We're at 2. That's 3. 3.5. Almost. A little bit more. And that would be 4. All right, so I think we're done, at least for today. Went up 4 turns on the lowering bolt in the front, and up 11, 10 or 11, depending which side, in the rear. So hopefully that will raise the car back up and hopefully have a little bit of actual rake to the car now. I think going to this height in the front is needed just for her tire clearance. I am going to take some white out and just paint the fender well where the rubbing is. And that way, when I do start to drive again, I'll see if that whiteout's gone, and then therefore I have raised the car enough to reduce that rubbing. If not, and I still have the same issue, well then there's no need to put it up higher. So I can drop the front back down those 4 turns, and then I'll have even more of that rake, hopefully helping with my my Aero. All right, so after I get the wheel to back tomorrow or Saturday, hopefully not Monday, go ahead and put the wheel back on, go back out, remeasure, and again we had 4.5 in the front, up to 4.25 in the rear. So hopefully we'll have those numbers starting to equalize, if not front down. Yeah, that's what we got. We'll go ahead and catch you in on tomorrow. All right, so again, we got the rear maxed in height, and then the front is, call it 4 to 6 turns, somewhere in there, for max height. Front still looks fairly low, and the rear looks monster truck style. That's it's like 4 fingers, 3.5 fingers. So significant amount of space. Yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get this measured up and see what we got. All right, so it looks like I forgot to film an outro and final measurements on the car. But the front, both sides, is at 5 inches now, ground to that T-slot. And the rear, I'm at 5.25 to the left rear, driver rear, and then 5.5 to the passenger rear. So I'm actually going to drive the car a fair bit in the next couple weeks while we still have great weather here in North Carolina. So I'm going to put my cheap tires back on, and when I do that, I'm going to actually lower the front 1 turn, and then I'm going to raise the left rear 1 turn as well. Should get me close, should get me there. Thanks for coming, thanks for watching. Please let me know if there's any topic that you want me to try to cover or what you want to try to see next. Thanks.